Number 5. The 1975 Ford Granada. The 1970s had a formal fashion style, especially for work. Unless you were a cool Californian, you had to wear a business suit to your job. An example of this fashion era was the Ford Granada. It was upright and formal, but didn't seem very comfortable. It's funny now, but Ford ads compared the Granada to the Mercedes-Benz 280. Not too much at first, but then they did it a lot. People in the 1970s must have liked it because they bought a lot of Granadas. From 1975 to 1980, Ford sold almost 1.8 million cars, and that's not even including the similar-looking Mercury Monarch. Number 4. The 1975 Mercury Bobcat. Ford introduced the Mercury Bobcat in 1975, which was basically a fancier version of the Pinto. They tried to make it look different by giving it a slightly altered front end and a more square-shaped hood. However, the back end of the Bobcat always makes us laugh, because it seems like they just took the taillights from a Pinto and stuck them on in the wrong order. In reality, that's not what they did. Ford managed to sell 1.3 million Pintos between 1975 and 1980, while Mercury sold around 225,000 Bobcats. Number 3. The 1977 Datsun 200SX. Japanese car companies dominated the American market in the 1980s. However, not everyone knows about their struggles with their vehicles in the 1970s. The Datsun, now a Nissan, sports coupe called the 200SX, is often considered one of the ugliest cars from that era. It wasn't fuel efficient or sporty. Instead, it was slow and clumsy. Unlike the B210, which had excellent fuel economy, the 200SX consumed a lot of gas. On top of that, as soon as Datsun sold a few 200SXs, they would quickly rust away and be forgotten. Nevertheless, the failure of the 200SX motivated Datsun to improve. In 1980, they released a new version of the 200SX, which would eventually become a classic car. Number 2. The 1978 Ford Fairmont. Americans are really into Europe these days, and that was obvious when Ford replaced the Granada with the Fairmont. The Fairmont was a super simple car, like a plain brown bag. It was basic and functional, which was a nice departure from the flashy badges that were all over Ford's cars in the 1970s. The two-door version, called the Fairmont Futura, actually looked pretty cool in a weird way. Even though people don't really remember the Fairmont, we all know about the Fox platform that it was based on, which went on to be used in the Mustang for 25 years. Number 1. The 1978 Dodge Magnum. Chrysler tried to make a cool car to compete with the Ford Thunderbird in the late 1970s. It had cool headlights that flipped down when you turned them on. But the new Magnum was made with old parts. It was made in the early 1960s and was one of the last Chrysler cars to have a big engine. It had a 6.6-liter engine, which was an upgrade from the famous 383 engine. Because gas prices were going up, and they didn't have much money for advertising, Chrysler had trouble getting people interested in their powerful 2-ton coupe. Both the Magnum and its follow-up, the Dodge Mirada, didn't do well with people,